If you can hear me, I'm getting set up here. I'm going to try to make this short. As I always say, I want to try to make this short, and you know how that goes. It's like going to the grocery store and you say, I'm only going to get a few items, and then you walk out with a whole bunch of stuff. Let me know if you can hear me audibly. I'm still waking up. I have been up since 4 o'clock this morning. Whoop, whoop. Yes, yes, yes. Ready to rock and roll, baby. Ready to rock and roll. Good morning, everyone. I usually like to do my lives outside, but I can't do that today because it's freezing out. So I'm inside. And say good morning. Hello, whoever's watching. And let me know if you can hear me because I'm inside an establishment because it's freezing out. And yeah, there's music playing. Yes. So I want to talk about some things here. I touched on yesterday dealing with insane people and the difference between insane people and sane people. If you missed that, it's in my live prior. And I'll just do a quick recap. The recap is that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. And when you're dealing with insane people, that's what they perpetuate. They perpetuate the same cycles of abuse, drama, hearsay, slander, negativity, complaining, victimized mentality, and greedy, selfishness, a whole host of negatives that go along with that. So that's the insane, and that's what you want to stay away from if you are to maintain your focus in life. And you want to be with the sane, you know, the good vibes, the feel-good vibes, the feel-good people, positive people, the people that look for the solution rather than the problem, not the ones that complain and focus on the problem. And so, yeah, you want to get that out of your life. It is about, basically, I came up with something that I live by, and that is faith, focus, fierce, finished. You want to get across the finish line, and there are steps that you have to take to do that. So I talked about removing the insane people, the losers out of your life, the toxic people, as one of the components to maintaining your focus. The other thing is routine. I get up every morning between 4 and 5 a.m. and I keep going. I go hard. I have a daughter right now who is fighting cancer, so I have to make sure that I'm navigating that properly, watching out for, you know, her health and advocating on her behalf because she's going to be going public soon with her story. If you go to my Facebook page, which you're on, I gave a brief overview of what her story is so that it can help others, and it's vital if that people listen to that, because this can happen to anybody and it can happen to someone that you know. So again, I'm going to go on my Facebook on my phone because I want to make sure that you can hear me. Like I said, I usually do my lives outside, but it's really cold out, so your focus. Oh, good. You can hear me perfectly fine because I just checked it out on my phone. So I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't be inside doing my lives because there's music going on. I'm a big music person, and I could actually say that's another thing that keeps me going is a playlist. I have a fierce, motivated, empowering playlist that I listen to on a regular. And so I'm inside and there's a lot of music playing. So I'm sorry if you hear me, like, if you see me dancing or singing at some point, I can't control it, you know, so it's out of my hands. Okay, so now I talked about the difference between insane people and sane people and how to remove them. is a component to remaining focused. Being consistent, getting up the same time every morning is another component to maintaining your focus. And faith is a huge component in maintaining your focus. It's not only about having the faith in things that are unseen and believing in something that hasn't manifested yet, but believing in it to the point that you make it manifest, right? It's about also self-love, self-respect, and creating healthy boundaries and standards for yourself, in addition to removing toxic people, places, and things from your life. And you literally become, I used to always joke and say that I'm going to join a convent, or I'm going to go and be a Buddhist monk in the mountains. And but you literally have to get in that zone, you have to get in that space, and you have to be mindful of who you allow into your life, in your space, and who you team up with and ask to come on board with your vision and your plan for moving forward in life, in removing obstacles, and for moving forward in fulfilling an endeavor that you want. So that's the next thing: vision, goal. You want to have an endeavor, a plan, a goal, something that you are aspiring to do, want to accomplish. If it's something that you have lost sight of, pick up the baton again and get yourself fired back up, and get yourself focused on that again. If you have something positive that you are working on and something bigger than you, that's another huge component that is basically, in order to move that forward, having something bigger than you to believe in and to work on. Again, it is vital that you remove toxic people, places, and things. You stay consistent, you stay positive, and you have the faith that you can fulfill that no matter what is happening. In my life, I have endured quite a bit in a short amount of time, in extended periods of time, and no matter what, my vision, my plan for my community, for helping others at large, bigger than myself, is what gets me up, including and above all, my daughter, my children, my two daughters. And in addition to that, now that my daughter is fighting cancer, it keeps me going. It's bigger than me. Every morning, I don't have an option or an excuse not to get up in the morning. Every morning is a new day for great possibilities, for communicating, networking, and moving the larger than life vision and plan forward. So I don't know. I don't. If you're selling coffee, if you're selling makeup, if you're doing any of these things, anything that you're striving to succeed in, I encourage you to make that the focal point for propelling you out of bed every morning. You have to have something that you're working for, something that matters to you. You have to know why you're doing it, why it's important. So when you have obstacles come up, you have people that just don't get it. You encounter the insane people. I get losers on the regular that pop up on my Facebook. They leave hate comments. Hi, haters. Wait, I'm sorry. It's another song. It's a new song. He said corazon, his heart. I don't know Spanish fluently, but because he said that, it's like pretty cool. It's a good vibing song. But anyhow, I'm going to smile in life regardless, and I'm going to be happy. Been up since 4 a.m. Probably can see the little baggies under my eyes. They go away. Once I wake up in the morning, I get that, like the puffiness. I don't care, because it goes away, and I'm loving life, despite the pain, despite the bullshit, because it keeps me going. That's fuel for me. That's fuel for me. And that's another thing. That's where fierce comes in. I said faith, focus, fierce, finished, right? That's getting over the finish line. Fierce. I thrive in obstacles. I thrive under pressure. I thrive under stress. Because you know what? This is life. in life, these things happen. It's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. So instead of focusing on trying to remove every single mountain in your way, look for the solution to hop on over that mountain. Mountains are going to be there. In other words, mountains are going to be there in life. So yeah, I get those haters popping up, dropping comments, talking bullshit. And every time it happens, and you haters out there should recognize, you should get it. Keep feeding me, baby. Because every time you do that, you see me pop it back up 10 times stronger. Feed me. Keep feeding me. And if you're not feeding me, that's okay. You know, I'm not going to starve. I'm not going to starve. I'm pretty well fed because, like I said, and a message for all of you out there, which is confirmation, and you already know this, mountains are there in life regardless, right? So don't focus on removing the mountain, right? Focus on how to get around that thing, right? And also boulders, you know, so on that path to success, on that path to overcoming an obstacle, a trial, on that path of being positive and trying to see the out of, you know, a huge, you know, issue. It could be a complaint, it could be bad news, like I said earlier in my videos, health scares, because that's like something that's prominent going on in our life. On that path, you're gonna have some boulders, you know, like jump on that, hop over them, dodge them. That's what this life is about. And I'm going to tell you something, and it's very true. As you keep doing that, it's like building a muscle, and you become stronger and stronger and stronger for it. Don't ever be afraid to speak your mind. Pick your battles. There's times you have to know when to speak. There's times you have to know when to pick up your sword. There's a season to fight. There's a season to be quiet. And these seasons you have to recognize, okay? Faith, focus, fierce. And this is part of being fierce, like a warrior, a queen. You have to recognize the season that you're in. The season that you're in. I have learned through the years, every season is cumulative. If you understand what each season represents, it's cumulative of your end result and providing you with the solution to the next level. And that is, there's a season to be still, to be quiet. See, but your haters and your enemies and the problems that are before you think you're quiet and you're still. During that season, I encourage you, when you feel like everything is up against you, the weight of the world is upon you, nobody's listening, you are being persecuted, and oh my God, here's another song. Persecuted and injustices. Sorry. During those seasons that you feel oppressed, and you're in that, see, I can't be in a place where there's music. Anyhow, document, observe, watch. It's like chess. Watch your enemy. Watch your persecutors. Watch your trials. Watch your obstacles. Listen to what they say. Listen to what it could be teaching you if it's your obstacles. Because you don't learn from haters. You don't. You don't learn from those that persecute you. They just merely provide you the fuel to say, all right, motherfucker, game on. I'm going to push and work harder, right? And be humble enough to recognize that you may look like the fool in those eyes for a period of time. You may look like you are in the wrong for that period of time, because that's the season. That's the season of building your faith, building your endurance, building your perseverance. It is also teaching you how to document, how to read people, how to trust your gut and your instinct. So during that season, you build, basically, you gather evidence, you build your case, right? So you got that season of that hardship, that persecution. And you know within you where you stand. You know what you represent. And you believe in that. You believe in yourself. And you fight like hell to find the solution. Remember, that goes into removing the insane people, toxic places, people, things, having faith, loving yourself. So you document during those seasons, and then there will come a time that more than one person will hear. There will come a time that you will have a solution on how to present your case, how to formulate the solution. In my situation, when I went through that particular season, and by the way, seasons come and go, so you're going to go through those things repeatedly. You're going to meet, they say, new level, new devil. So every time you're leveling up and you're going to that next place in life that's going to advance you, you're going to encounter even greater obstacles that are building you so that you are ready and prepared for the place that you're supposed to be. Okay? So during my season of persecution, hardships, things and that, I created 30 programs to help outreach the community that have yet to be launched. 30 programs I took to writing day and night up till 3 in the morning, sometimes up till 4 or 5, and then got my ass up after an hour, maybe hour worth of sleep. Maybe sometimes I didn't sleep at all, and got to work. Came home, took care of my family, repeat. So, like the phoenix, you rise from the ashes. You get beauty for your ashes. If you embrace the hardships and you don't look at the hardships as something horrible and meant to break you, even though it may feel like that sometimes, it's a good thing. Hardships and trials are really a good thing. So if you shift your focus and your mindset to recognize that any trial that is put before you is actually there to produce endurance, strength, push you and propel you to your next goal and level in life. And how I knew what my vision is, because I know a lot of people out there are asking, what's my vision? What's my vision? One thing I unfortunately have to say to you, if you haven't gone through nothing in life, you're not going to find your vision. And the other thing is, if you let the trials and the problems in life and in your own life beat you down, you're not going to find your vision. Okay, if you're completely beaten down, unrecognizable, and you've just given up, you're not going to find your vision. Your vision comes through going through some deep, deep stuff in life, some heavy obstacles and injustices, and it also is indicative of who you are as a person and your character. If you're standing for, truth, justice, integrity, you have standards, you have boundaries, you love yourself, you are then going to know that you are designed, created for more. And technically, we all are designed, created for more. But some people choose to operate at a low level due to not having any of the components that I have been sharing yesterday or have shared yesterday and what I'm sharing today. So in order to know your vision, you have to ask yourself the trials and the hardships that you're going through in life, past, present, current, recent, past. What is it that you are meant to do with that information? Who is it that you are meant to reach with that information? How can you harness those trials to produce a solution in your own life? How can it build you, strengthen you, produce endurance and tenacity and determination? How can it shape and mold you to be a better caretaker, lover of yourself and self-respect? And when you have realized what that solution is and what those answers are, you get those answers, you figure out the formula, you then ask yourself, how can I spread this abroad, right? Because I can't be the only one that's going through this. There's other people out there that are hurting, that are in need of this information. And I found the solution. I know how to build my muscles here, my soul, spiritual, mental stamina, my muscles. Like, I've done this. So I want to impart this for somebody who is on their way out the door in life because they choose to give up. They don't see a way out. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, they've gone insane. So I didn't touch on that. There's people who are insane that literally go insane because they have lost sight of their morals, they have lost sight of their convictions, they have lost sight of their integrity. At some point, how you go insane is you compromise in life, and the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. So at some point, you have compromised in your life, you have lied, you have cheated somebody, you have basically just become a person that has a huge chip on their shoulder, and instead of becoming better, you are bitter. And through that bitterness, you become a hollow shell. You can't see your way out of where you're at. You have no faith. You've lost faith. You've lost your focus. You've lost that fierceness. That fierceness then becomes, the world sucks. I hate everybody. That chip on the shoulder. Those people out there that are like, whatever. I'm just for self. Yes, you also become selfish. You become insane, repeating the same actions and behavior that are negative over and over again. And what ends up happening as an end result, if you don't backtrack from that thinking, that stinking thinking, you don't make a way to say, today's the day that I draw a line in the sand. I will not compromise. I will not sell out. I will remain firm. I will right every wrong to the best of my ability. If you don't backtrack and get on course with that, you will then lose your identity. That's not a place you want to be, because people that lose their identity fall into a state of depression, anxiety, whole host of other issues can unload and unleash. And let's face it, there's some people that go through some real horrible stuff to where it just beats them down. It's one wave after another, one crashing wave after another, and they're just like, boom, they tap out of life. They tap out mentally, and usually they tap out mentally, and then later it's physically. They leave this earth. They want to give up. Don't do that. Don't be one of those people. Let me tell you something about the crashing waves. I don't experience crashing waves in my life. I experience tsunamis. Wait, another song. Hold on. It's in Spanish. Anybody out there that speaks Spanish? If you hear this, you can translate it. But some of these Spanish songs that they put on it, can't help it. I experienced tsunamis in my life. I went through 2017. Woo! I'm going to just give you a small taste. 2017, I worked in a nursing home taking care of Alzheimer's and dementia patients, watched elderly patients as 90 years old, frail, fragile, getting thrown down on the floor by nurses, went through hell. Oh yeah, nursing home abuse, folks. As I worked this job, every single nurse, aside from one, who I love you, you know who you are. I'm not going to say your name because I don't know if you want it out public at this point. She stood by my side and had worked in this place for 5 years, and I was only there for about 3 months, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? What is this? I was told by my superiors not to say anything. That's nurse's issue, not to report it. Just you. I was an activity assistant at the time, and I was managing over 20 plus Alzheimer's dementia patients and putting together activities for them, things of that nature. People have been in that field, you know what I'm talking about. And I watched people not get their medication. I watched elderly people have their face in food, suffocating, and I've had to lift one woman up. I built a very close, tight bond with these people, and literally got to the point my job went completely beyond job description. I felt like these people, they were first and foremost my responsibility when I was working with them, but they became my responsibility even when I went home at night because I couldn't sleep some nights. And being told by my superiors, my directors, not to report this because they've seen people get fired, so on and so forth. And, if my attorney from back then happens to see this, the drill. And I said, fuck that. That's not going down on my watch. These poor people crying. So I'm not going to even go into, because I'll start remembering every single act that was done against these elderly patients. And so I reported. And when I reported, I had nurses hating on me. I had head nurses and CNAs coming up to me talking about snitches end up in ditches. And then they were hiding my work supplies so that I couldn't perform my job duty. And guess what? I showed right the fuck up every day. Every day I showed up and I didn't stay silent. And everybody that was involved in that situation, and I'm not going to discuss this right now, but everybody knows what ended up happening in the end after all that. I held firm. I held my ground. I stood up for what was right. And honestly, when I become a senior, I don't want to end up in that situation. Somebody has to say something, and I have kids. When it's my time to leave this earth, I don't ever want to have to be on my deathbed wondering that when my children become older and they're in nursing homes, God forbid, that they experience this type of abuse in a nursing home. It's like, this is not only just about the people that were being abused, this is about for future generations, my own family. Like, wake the hell up. And these people that were perpetuating this abuse, insane, because, right, definition of insanity, they got locked into this place that, this is what they had to do. They were all covering each other's backs for the abuse, and I was the only one being vocal in the front lines, getting attacked by over 20 workers day in and day out. So they all stuck together because they all knew that if they didn't keep their stories consistent as a group or whatever you want to call them, they would all go down. But in the end, they all went down anyway. And the sad thing is, when you take part in associating, or the lesson here is when you associate with liars, backstabbers, deceivers, people that do this and they're not standing up for what's right, I guarantee you, when it hits the fan and things are exposed, those very people that say, oh, you cover for me, I'll cover for you, when they get exposed, they all start running. Why? Because now they're looking after their own ass. And when the shit hits the fan, so to speak, they're going to say something now. They're not going to cover anybody's back. So what's the lesson in this? Don't be a liar. Don't be a liar. Don't be a deceiver. Don't be corrupt. Don't be nasty. Stand up for what's right. Have some integrity. So I went through that season. I went through hell. I gave a very short version. And in the midst of this, my daughter was experiencing sickness, going back and forth, didn't know whether or not she had cancer back then, but knew in our hearts, we knew something was wrong and that it was cancer. So I would contend with that problem day and night at my job, and then I would go home, barely get to sleep, up at 3 a.m, rushing my daughter to the ER, being told she doesn't have cancer every single day of my life. Go to work some days, had to go home because the ambulance are being called for my daughter while she's at school, had to go into work late some days, had to leave work early some days because she's going through all that. And then, just tsunami after tsunami. Had some dating experience in the interim, met some real serious psychopaths, and had to file complaints against that. I said, that's it. So tsunami after tsunami after tsunami, and you have to understand, when you got tsunamis going on in your life, waves crashing, you have to remind yourself what it's about, what it's for. It's about loving yourself. It's about loving others. It's about doing what's right. It's about protecting your family, yourself, and you do so at all costs. It's about the greater good. It's about having your vision. It's like, there are so many things that I've gone through in my life that I could have just thrown in the towel a long time ago. Close family and friends will tell you, I've said, that's it. And you know why I say that sometimes? And they know this about me. Every time I'm like, that's it, I've had enough, this is ridiculous, they laugh. No, I'm serious this time, because they know it's not in me. They're like, yeah, you're just venting. That's the place, and that's where I'm at now in life. That's where I've been. I said yesterday 20 years, it's actually over 20 years. Another time I'll give the exact number when I do the math, that I have conditioned myself, trained myself to navigate obstacles and trials and to not break to the point of no return. I may bend, but not fucking break. There are so many things that I have endured and I have gone through. Literally, like I've said, it could make 1,000 Lifetime movies and sequels, that there is not one fucking thing that I can say I fear or haven't seen before. There is no fucking fear. Now, going back over 20 years back, or going backwards, there was a lot of that. Anytime a problem would come or an obstacle would come, back in my teens, 18, 20, and they were small back then, very small, I would freak. I would complain. I'd be like, why is this happening? Like, what the hell? Blah, 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 blah. Like, oh my God, forget it. I'd be sad. It would mess up my day. I am so far past that shit. I've almost died twice. I have lost life. I have seen life lost. I have battled much in my life. And I say that with a smile because I genuinely respect, honor, embrace the pressures and trials. And that is not something that I could have said years ago. Years ago, it would have been like, who wants that? Like, what the hell? Guess what? Guess what? The reality is every single one of you out there, you're going to get it whether you like it or not, because that's the dish that life does serve. And you have to armor yourself up and you have to build your mental stamina. And that's what I'm here to help you recognize. And I'm going to talk more about tips on how to do that, as I've shared yesterday, because you want to get that dessert that life serves as well. After that dish of cold, hard reality, there comes dessert. So I'm going to close with that for now. There's more to come. If you have any questions, comments, drop it in the comment section. You can message me. I do get very busy, but I will reach out. I will reach out when I can. If you're ready to make changes, if you're ready to take action, that's what I'm on. If you're going to complain, can't help you there. You want to vent and share your story, I'm all ears. But then we're going to talk about the solution. So I want you all to be ready for that, and I can help you get to that point. Do not let anything or anyone stop you. Keep your focus. Stay strong, stay positive, stay kind, stay good, and stay true to what you know is right. But when necessary, when any enemy obstacle rears its ugly head, there's always going to be a time. Like I said, everything operates in season. You pick up your sword and you fight. Love you all. God bless. No stress.